Good morning and welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I am with A Room to Bloom, and this is your podcast Oracle reading. In addition to reading cards today, I'd like to just take a moment and, I oftentimes do that. I talk about messages that I'm receiving, what's coming in, and sometimes it's something that I experienced very recently, and sometimes it is a story that has been building, if you will, that I've been holding on to the messages to see what it is creating for myself and for the collective energies. So it's early for me to actually be recording, but one thing that I do notice right now is today is Friday, September 26th. It happens to be 8:26 in the morning, so we have two numbers of 26, right? And so I actually have this angel number book in front of me by Durian Virtue. And seriously, just because of the hour, for me, it's a little early for recording. I am going to use this book. So on 26, it speaks about positive affirmations help your situation improve quickly. The angels urge you only to think and speak about your desires and not to affirm your fears, as they are just an illusion. This was supposed to happen exactly as this just did. Um, because before I started this, I kept contemplating if I would like to speak on what I was going to speak on. Now, I will speak on a hint of it, but it's exactly that, because what you give your energy to, right, expands. And so if you are talking about things that are sad and difficult and are challenging, then you're going to expand that. And so that's why I'm, careful, I guess, careful about that. What am I speaking about? What am I expanding in my own life? And then also, what am I bringing forth to the collective that then the windows to their soul, if you will, whether it's in a video or their ears, if they're listening, if you are listening, what am I putting out there for you to take in? And so it's just something to be cognizant of, um, for carrying a lighter energy, right? So I'm going to read this one more time and then I'll tell you what I experienced. So I'm not going to go into more like I was contemplating about. So this is just my message too. Positive affirmations help your situation improve quickly. The angels urge you to only think and speak about your desires and not to affirm your fears, as they are just an illusion. Now, one of the things I want to tell you, which I find really awesome and fascinating, is that when I woke up this morning, one of the first things that came to me was the idea of, like writing on a mirror, right? Positive affirmations for the week or whatever that is, and helping people to establish what those would be for themselves in their life. And the idea of just putting them there and reading them aloud, right? So it helps the day. And I was thinking about children also, right? Children who go to school maybe are, we're just into early September in the United States. It depends on where one lives, but however long they've been in school, if kids have been struggling a little bit. But it's the idea of getting out of the right side of the bed, being grateful for life, being grateful for all that we have in our life, speaking words of life over ourself and others, right? And teaching children to do that, but being a role model for kids. And if you don't have children, simply stepping into it and doing it yourself and realizing how you begin to not only shift what you speak, but you shift the way you think. And the idea that's coming to me are, people say, fake it till you make it, right? But when you do something repetitively enough, you're like, yeah, I'm actually getting, people say like the swing of this. This is actually feeling authentic, right? I'm resonating with this. Okay. Okay. So what happened just a little bit ago is, if you listen to my channel, and by the way, if you are a new listener, I want to say thank you for stopping in to listen. I appreciate it. And if you are a returning listener, thank you for um, staying and returning to listen to other videos or messages to gather stories or information to help you along your journey. But so if you have been listening, you will know that I had lost someone, and we are going on just about 4 months here. And I have not spoken on who I lost, what the circumstances were, um, all of that. And what were the circumstances before that? I just haven't gone there because, that actually has been part of my journey, right? Um, like when I say before that, and leading up to that, I guess. But anyway, so I walked over to this table. I looked at this person's picture, and I was thinking about them, like just really thinking about them. And oftentimes I'll ask for a message for what do they want me to know. And I have this flip calendar, and it's got encouraging messages on it, and it's been sitting at the same page for a long time. And I always flip them randomly. I don't flip them to the day in the earthly experience. I flip them randomly for a message from spirit, right? And so when I flipped the page, the message says the only thing that defines you is what is inside of your heart. Because I was, um, just feeling, I don't know, like um, being pulled back a little, if you will, just thinking about this person, right? Now, so the message is there, but when I looked at the date, it's actually the day that they passed away. So, and oh, I just realized something else. Wow. Okay, so two things. So, yesterday I did a video, and I have not released it yet, but it will probably be released by the time this comes out. And I had lit a yellow candle that is citrus. And normally I have like a white candle when I am online. Um, but the color that is on this calendar page is also yellow, and the flowers that are surrounding it are forget-me-nots. And after this person passed away, one of the flowers that were sent to the funeral were forget-me-nots, and I had dried the flowers. And there was this one beautiful piece of the forget-me-nots that just all stayed together in one chunk. And I thought, no, I don't want to break this piece up because I'm making things with the flowers. I don't want to break this piece up. I want to hold this because it was so beautiful, and it just seemed pressed, and yet I did not press it. It was just the way it dried. And so in looking at this, it's like, here we have the date of the person's passing, the forget-me-nots that was the one flower that I kept together in its wholeness, if you will, and that reminder of the flower, forget me not. And that's exactly what isn't happening. And moving on, that's one thing. Taking a step forward each day, but we have to keep going, even though there are days that are more challenging, that feel heavier, if you will, um, where maybe more emotion comes up, that type of thing. But but it's the idea of continuing to move forward, right? So yesterday I had done a reading, and there was a deck I meant to use, and it's called Messages from Heaven, and I didn't use it in the reading. I used it for myself after the reading, but I thought, okay, in light of this situation, I was thinking about this person, I turned the calendar, it's that date. I want to bring forth a message here. Let's see what comes up from your loved ones in heaven to communicate any messages for you. They'll also be for me. I have goosebumps here that would be helpful for you on your journey if you are going through a period of grieving or loss, or if you're feeling alone or lonesome. Know that Spirit is always with you, even though you may not be able to see them, you may not be able to sense them, but they're there. And when you ask questions, and even in your thoughts, okay, it's 11:11. Even in your thoughts are heard. Because I didn't like ask the question out loud. I just thought it. Flip the calendar, and there it is, right? Okay. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to take the first card. Okay, so what we have is a set of they're brick stairs leading up, and on each stair sits a flower pot with red flowers, and it's like the terracotta flower pots. And on the stone wall next to it, there's like sparkles and stars all over. It sparkles, okay? It says, find a way to bring harmony back into your life. Take the first step. And that's interesting that I was speaking about that with going on, right? Life still moves on, and it speaks about still continuing to take the step forward. And we do have to ask ourselves, are we constantly looking back at what was? And sure, things are going to come up, pop up, right? Memories. But this is the idea that we will bring harmony into our life so long as we continue to take the first step forward, or the next step forward, right? To bring harmony into our life. So one thing that I want to mention is there are 6 flower pots on here, but we can only see 5 sets of the flowers, because the top one I can't see the flowers. I only see the pot. And the flowers are red, so that can speak about your root chakra, and that can be like basic needs, fear, things like that, right? It can also represent passion. So if you take a step towards your passions, right, that will help you to continue to move on. Does moving on mean like I'm going to run away from this whole situation and I'm going to pretend that this didn't happen? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that I continue to take one step forward, and I understand that memories and such will pop up, and that they pop up because it's something that I either it's generally what's happening is it's being brought to the forefront to be transmuted, to be looked at, to be healed, and to be transmuted and released, right? So where is there pain? People talk about the pain body, right? So we have 4 bodies. We have the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. But we can carry pain, if you will, in different areas. Doesn't mean just physical pain. Okay, what else do we have here? All right, the next one we have is an older gentleman's hand holding a child. It's not a baby, but maybe like looks like probably a 7 to 10-year-old child's hand. It says, changes can bring you new life and energy. We will hold your hand. So what's coming to me is elders, ancestors, guides, right? We will hold your hand. Changes can bring you new life and energy. We will hold your hand. So being encouraged to make some changes, because if you feel stuck in your life, and I'm getting goosebumps again, if you feel stuck, um, you're being guided to make some changes. And sometimes changes aren't always easy to make, especially if you have a number of them in front of you. But if you simply choose something, it's a different path and it's a new energy. And so maybe it won't be the path forever, but it is a different direction. And so therefore you will have a different experience. It's simply a matter of deciding to shift your energy, because everything starts in our thoughts, right? Okay, the next image is we have a ship's wheel and a I don't know what it's called, but it kind of looks like something on the dashboard, right? It probably says how many knots the boat is going at what speed. Anyway, so it says take control of the situation. We know that you can do this, right? So what's going on is something heavy here, right? Find a way to bring harmony back into your life. Take the first step. Changes can bring new life and energy. We will hold your hand. Take control of the situation. We know that you can do this. So getting a handle on things, if you will, right? Where do you feel like in your life you maybe don't have a handle on something? And, here's the thing. You can self-acknowledge it, but you can, because you can know it's there, or if you've been covering it up with distractions or self-medicating, this type of thing, right? You might not be as clear, but at the root of it, you know that there could be pain, right? Or whatever. So if you have others that are pointing the finger, if you will, at you, saying, well, you need to do this and you should do that, right? Well, that feels like it puts someone back into a corner and makes them feel smaller and actually be more defiant, because no one loves to be told what to do. Now, here's the thing. It's not about that, but if you sit alone for a while and you take out the pain from people pointing at situations about yourself, and you really get honest with yourself and say, where am I struggling right now, right? Where am I struggling right now? In what areas of my life do I need to get like a grip on it, right? And so if we take the again, let's take, your physical experience. So that could be your body, your job, your finances, anything that has to do with the earthly realm, the physical world, right? It could be something that's going on in your mind, the mental world, something that's spinning around and around and around, right? And you're just having a hard time getting out of the thoughts. Now, one thing again, you've probably heard this, but they say the longest distance you can travel is from your head to your heart. Okay? Now, I want to read that first message I got again. The only thing that defines you is what is inside of your heart. It's not about what is in your head. Okay? So if you have things that are spinning around and around and around in your head, they'll keep going there if you allow them. However, if you start to release them in some form, so releasing them can look like expression of some sort. Dance, draw, write, paint, create something, right? So rather than consuming, you step into a role of creating, and it was just 333 megabytes at my recording stage right now. So, stepping into the idea of being a creator versus a consumer, because when we are consuming too much of anything, it can throw us off, right? So, this means doing something different to get honest with yourself. And one of the things I like to recommend to others is if you keep a calendar, like with the time on it on your counter, and you keep going, where's my time going? But you don't seem to be getting anything done. This isn't about keeping a full calendar saying I have an appointment to do this and I have to run here and I have to go there, and it's overwhelming you because you look at it and you're like totally overwhelmed. This is about doing it in reverse. And this is about saying, just keep it there. When did you wake up? Write down the time you woke up. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself about this. This is simply for you to observe your patterning, right? Or what are you doing with your time? So you write that down. Maybe, you hang out for an hour and then you take a shower, right? And you walk by the calendar again and you're like, oh, it's this time now. What have I done from this time to the last time I wrote an entry in here? And then you write down what you did. Did you talk with a friend? Did you write a letter? Did you pay bills? Did you, uh, you know, look for work? Did you, clean the house? What did you do? And then, um, even when you write on it, you might be kind of doing other things or have a few things that you intended to get done. Now, this is the other thing. Don't be hard on yourself if you do not get all of your intended list done. It's about grace and forgiveness. And we are human beings. We are not human doings. So we are being encouraged to find the balance between the doing and the being, right? There will be others in our life that, always want us to be doing because that's what they are doing. And they have a hard time understanding, how can you possibly just be? Right? How can you be? Because they believe that being isn't enough. But in the eyes of God, we are enough. Simply to exist. We are enough simply to exist. Now, the other thing is, it is in this being where we learn to heal things, where we learn to process things, where we learn to let go of things that we've been carrying around, emotions, all these different things, right? It is in that being where there's a lot of healing taking place. It's in that being where we start to find the inner child, the happy inner child again, right? Where we begin to learn how to play again. So again, take control of the situation. We know that you can do this. So if you are in a place, again, you're like, what's going on with your time? You have others breathing down your neck, if you want to use that term. Write in a calendar, not for them. Do it for you. So that you can really kind of look at that and do it for like a week. 2 days, 3 days isn't enough. A week, and then do it for a month. Now you start to, maybe you're into 2 weeks and you're like, yeah, now I recognize that last week, even though there's things I wanted to accomplish, I sat on social media or scrolling for however long, right? And so if I self-recognize, if I back off of that and I put more energy into my dreams, to bring my life into harmony, if I take a step towards my dreams, if I tell the universe that, if I show the universe that, if I show God this is what I am, wanting to bring into my experience, again, because what we give energy to expands. We also might say, okay, I recognize that I've been on that phone a lot, or screen time, sitting in front of the TV, right? This type of thing. It's like, okay, I'm shifting this. I'm going to shift the pattern, and it might take a little bit of the shift. You could go cold turkey and turn it off, but will you feel, um, how will you feel about it, right? Or can you just do it a little bit at a time, right? Make the shift gradually. And then all of a sudden you start noticing a little more pep in your step, right? So let's see what else comes up here. Problems that have held you back are being cleared. We are monitoring it. Okay, and what this image is of a river with beautiful green trees on the side, lush green trees on the side of the river. You don't see a boat, no logs, nothing on the river, but the reflection of the trees on the river. And again, these stars or these twinkles all over. Again, so when you are in your mode of being, like, spirit is working on your behalf, right, to help you, clear problems that have held you back. We are monitoring it, watching over, helping. So it's just simply a matter of believing and understanding that you truly have help in the spiritual realm to help you in your physical human experience. Okay, so this is really interesting. So yesterday when I did this reading, or between two of them, I think I had two or three cards that said it's okay to ask for help. So what this next picture is we have a young boy who is standing in water. And it's really interesting because I said there's a younger boy's hand and this older man's hand. And this boy looks to be about the age of that hand. Could be 7 to 10, right? Standing in like the ocean. It's not a lake, it's an ocean. And it says, seek professional help if you need to. All will be well. And the water represents our emotions, right? So it's like this person is feeling really heavy, are very emotional, right? And so it's about allow those tears to flow. And the other thing, because we have that image of the river, that's the other idea that um, things in our life they're moving by us, they're moving through us, they're moving past us, and sometimes we are involved in that and we move with the current, but sometimes we decide we want to turn around and it feels like we're paddling upstream, right? But when we stop fighting and we step more into allowing and more into the observer position of what's going on in our life, we can bring harmony into our life. It's okay to seek professional help. One thing that I want to say is when I first started on this journey, I was having experiences that absolutely felt otherworldly, okay? Or it's very interesting because there was this place where it felt like everything was the same. Like there was a part of me that's like everything's the same. And yet there was so much more that opened up to me that it took me a while to kind of find that balance and to understand all of this together, right? That there is this world of spirit, that there is more, that there are various dimensions of, and energetically speaking, right? What are we tapping into based on where our energy is at? And so if you're feeling stuck and low vibrating, and ask yourself, what are you doing in your life that is keeping you stuck? And by making some changes, some small changes, you will start to see things move or pick up. Think about a vehicle that gets stuck in a rut, right? The wheel gets stuck in a rut. And maybe you don't have the tool at the moment to get that vehicle out. but you go and you try different things, right? Some people stick carpet under a wheel. You might try all these different tactics. What works to get you out of the rut? Sometimes you aren't, you don't know, and you can't get out of the rut, right? So what happens? You might just be stuck sitting there, and then along comes who? People, help, angels might be sent in, right? Angels, guides might be sent in to help you get out of the rut. And when you have that type of a situation in your physical experience, the question says, it's like a mirror. It's an experience to say, okay, what's happening here? What is this experience trying to show me about myself? Right? And so when you always ask yourself that question in that way, you start to look at things very differently. And it might be, have I been stuck in a rut? Have I been having a hard time figuring a way out of it? Do I need help? Right? Here, seek professional help. Well, professional help can come in a lot of different ways. Sure, but you can also seek help from the spirit realm, professional help in the physical realm. But in that particular case, it might be a tow truck driver, someone who has a towing business, right? They're the professionals. They're going to come in and what? They're going to get connected to you like spirit does, and they're going to pull you out of the rut. Okay? Going back to this message, problems that have held you back are being cleared. We are monitoring it. What's coming to me now is the idea of the airport controller, the air I don't know how you say it, but air tower controller, right? They have a visual on a screen of what's going on all over. If the runway is holding back a plane because either there's snow on it or ice on it or something's in the way of the runway, whether that's birds or animals or whatever, right? They have to clear the runway. And what do they do before they're monitoring it so that they can tell if the runway ever gets something in on it so that it can be cleared. It's the same way. They're making a way. Making a way. But you have to do your part too. You have to do your part too. And that means sitting with oneself regularly, asking yourself questions, reaching out to spirit, reaching out to your guides, prayer, meditation, right? And getting honest with yourself. All right, I am going to look at the bottom of the deck. It says, oh, this is really cool. So what it is it looks like tall weeds from the marsh. And there's a really cool nest on here, and it's weaved really interestingly. And it's not a nest where the bottom is like the top, the opening is up on the top. The opening is on the side. And it says, be creative. Look for ways to build, grow, and to manifest, right? It's 3333. Look for ways to grow or to build, to grow, and to manifest. And so this is really interesting because this bird is building this nest that's really interesting and cool. So what gifts and talents have you been given that you haven't really been using? You can look at things that you happen to be good at, but is there a lot of satisfaction in it for you? It's finding balance in that, right? Is it helping others? Do you have a gift that helps others? You were given those gifts for a reason. So again, be creative. The opposite of depression is expression. So in what ways can you express yourself? This is actually really interesting. I have these two little strings on my desk that I noticed right away before the reading, and they're right side by side, and one is blue and it's quite longer than the other one, which is next to it, which is yellow, which is about a third of the length of the blue. So if you are longing to express yourself, the idea here is not to go overboard in verbal expression, but to find balance, right? So what this is saying is, like if you're always talking about something or complaining about something or dumping your story onto people, right? But you're never taking action, then you might have an overactive throat chakra. This to me, these strings say back off of the speaking about your whatever's going on with you, complaining, whatever that is. Back off of that and take your power back, because the yellow is about our solar plexus chakra, which is representative of our power center. Okay. And so taking your power back looks like, have you given it away at various times in your life to people, places, and or things, situations, right? Maybe there was a job that you just gave and gave and gave, and you were kind of just getting by, right? But it was potentially a thankless job. It's not that you have to necessarily be thanked, but you weren't happy there, right? Did you give your power away to a family member, to a spouse, to your parents? And this isn't saying I'm taking my power back and I'm whatever, like shutting everything down. It's just simply stepping back gently, right? It's not about making, again, the throat chakra bigger because you're talking about it, complaining about it, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a quiet space of just stepping back. I step back and I realize that maybe I've spent a lot of time talking about this. So I'm going to stop talking about it and giving that so much energy, and I'm going to turn that around and put the energy, my energy, into building, right? To build, grow, or manifest that which I desire. I'm going to stop complaining. It's like a motorcycle. The idea of giving a motorcycle or a car, either one, gas to go, move forward, you have to, give it gas. But when you're complaining and doing all these different things, that's like pulling in the brake, right? And it's like, that's not getting you anywhere. It's really sitting with oneself and acknowledging where one is at in this journey, okay? Which is actually really interesting, because the other thing that I had done is, because I had grabbed this angel number book because of the number 28. I wanted to read here. Says, money comes to you as you keep the faith that you, your loved ones, and your beautiful life purpose are all fully supported in heaven. So again, if you're going to a job for a paycheck but you can't stand it, that's an energy that you're carrying around. But it's like, think about a little bit at a time, leaning more and more and more into what lights you up. What are your passions? Like these red flowers on the steps. These flowers are going up. When you give energy to your passions and or what you desire, you are raising your energy. You're raising your vibration, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. You're raising your vibration. And like energy attracts like energy. So if you're feeling better, you're going to attract more better feeling situations, right? Okay, so I'm going to take, excuse me, I think I'll use a couple angel number cards here. Let's see what comes up. This is a deck. Okay, so I have someone, okay, I have goosebumps as I was just going to say that. Coming along with a lawnmower here, okay? The lawnmower is like saying something needs to be cut away, right? What needs to be cut away um, in your life? What needs to be let go? What is getting too long? Now, that's actually interesting because for me as a message, it could be saying this message is getting too long, right? Need to cut the time down, but I'm going to take a couple more because I've already said that I will. But thinking about things from that perspective, what does a lawnmower do? It trims or cuts the grass to make it more beautiful, right? To keep it healthy. To There's many things that mowing the lawn does, right? But it's that idea of sometimes it's cutting away the dead grass, right? Or depending upon the type of lawnmower, it might pick up the dead grass, right? Um, so letting go, taking care of oneself, maintaining oneself, maintenance is also part of this journey. So are you getting up every day and taking care of yourself? Um, and I don't mean beautifying yourself for the purpose of ego. I mean, are you getting up every day and uh, like making your bed, cleaning up your room so you feel refreshed because your bedroom, your room is your sanctuary. And so if you don't have electronics in there and you just say, this is where I read, this is where I connect, this is a very peaceful space for me, right? I always keep it clean. My sheets are clean and fresh. I keep it dusted and whatever, everything, right? And then stepping out and to maintain yourself. Maintain yourself. Your body is a temple. Your body is a temple. And it's up to us to maintain it. Now I realize, I've had my things with that too, right? So it takes practice, and it's just a little bit at a time. So self-love, um, self-love. Maybe instead of choosing fast food, or if you go to fast food, get a salad, right? Choosing greens, choosing foods that are of the earth, right? Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, this type of thing. Because you will start to notice your vibration lifting or shifting as you detoxify your body from that which is not serving you. I had a card fall out while I was shuffling. Okay, this is funny. It's a number that means something to me, but it's funny. It's 818, okay? And it speaks about infinity. So the eights, when turned on their side, represent the infinity symbol. So life is a never-ending loop. One cycle in your life is ending, but another is beginning. The shift can feel catastrophic, but it is the natural way of things. Be on the lookout for other signs coming your way. Your communication with the angels is strong right now. Draw another card with an intention of receiving guidance in your next steps as the current cycle ends and the next one begins. Okay, so I just spoke about this yesterday. And the example that I gave, because I'm going to give it again because it's just perfect. So when you take that infinity symbol, or the number 8, and you turn it on its side, there's this place in the middle, sort of like an X, right? And one side of the 8 is a birth. Think of a pregnancy, right? There's a birth happening. The other side is like going back into you're always connected. It's like it's becoming whole, right? Instead of the fragmented self. Understanding that you are always connected. So imagine that if you are not tapping into spirit, if whatever that is. And so we talk about the different sides of the veil, right? The living side and the side of those who have passed over. So the infinity sign is saying, on one side of this, I'm on the living side of the veil. On the other side, it's not the human experience, but I'm on the other side of the veil, right? I'm on the other side of the veil. I still exist. I'm infinite. My consciousness is infinite. It's 444. Okay. And by the way, the writing on that card is also yellow, the same color that my candle is and the same color that is on that calendar message. Okay, what else do we have here? 901, turning a page. And it's also kind of the color that's on this card. It says, okay, I'm going to read this again. It's the gentleman, the older man's hand with the younger. It says, changes can bring new life and energy. We will hold your hand. So 901, turning a page. That's changes, right? Now is the time to begin again. A chapter has closed in your life. Reinventing yourself is not easy, but it is necessary. Your angels now know, I'm sorry, the mower is kind of really close. Your angel's message now is to embrace that reality and to combine it with confidence that you are ready to move ahead. Draw another card with the intention of receiving angelic guidance on what is to come. Okay, so we're going to say what is to come, because yet again we have this thing here. The next message is take control of the situation. We know you can do it, right? Reinventing yourself is not easy, but no one's going to come along and reinvent yourself for you. You got to do it yourself. They got their own reinventing to do, right? And that's what you got to recognize. Have you been leaving it up to someone else to reinvent you? Have you just been getting drug along with whatever else everybody else wants to do? Or have you sat down and say, who am I right now? Where are my interests right now? And oftentimes, okay, have goosebumps again. We have these things that we loved as a child, but we ended up letting them go or set them to the wayside, hoping to get back to them someday, but we haven't. What did you love as a child? That can be an opening. If you're not sure right now, just give yourself and allow yourself time to play. And one of the things I like to recommend to people is whatever age you are, depends how old you are, but you might go into a thrift shop or something where they have some toys and see if they have toys from your childhood. I actually bought one a week ago. And it was one of my favorite things, and it's the youngest thing that I can remember. And it still today has to do with what I love. And I ran into it, and it's like the original version of it. So that was really cool. I don't always go into the toy section, but that day I decided to. And there will be toys that come up that, like, let's say that there was a toy that you wanted as a child, but for whatever reason you didn't get it. But you always longed for it. And it's okay in our experience to not always get everything we want, because that is part of the lesson. How do we handle it? Do we handle it with grace, right? But if you can get it and you know, like you're just happy to have it, it's okay to play with it, right? To not just put it on the shelf and look at it and think about it. You might for a while, but you might be like, no, maybe it was building a model car or something like that, right? And you're like, yeah, I always wanted to do that. I always wanted these. I'm going to do this. And then you don't have to hang on to it forever. Pass it on to a kid, right? But, you know, tapping into your inner child, right? Reinvent yourself. You can find new things that bring you joy today, right? So try different classes, talk to different people, have conversations. The other day I looked back. I was walking in somewhere, and these two kids had just gotten out of a car. I mean, they literally had just gotten out of a car. They just kind of caught my attention for a second. And it's almost like I had to do a double take, because I thought they were both holding phones and looking at them, and they were young kids. And they were walking through this parking lot, right? And I just, you know, and it's just that, are we doing that? I do that, you know, I do that. It just depends, but it's about being more cognizant of it and being a role model for kids. I noticed that many people now are starting to get landlines again and saying enough of that, the cell phone, right? Enough of giving so much of our energy to this. Let's be kids again. Let's play, let's laugh, let's take our power back as a family, right? As individuals, which is interesting because the next one I'm going to take the card under is take control of the situation. We know that you can do this. So what we have is 315, and the color is green, and it says declutter life. Now green is representative of our heart chakra, right? Create mental space. So when I was talking about your room being your sanctuary, if you know, it depends on your home and your living situation, you may have a different room for that, right? But whatever the case is, the vision that is coming to me is when somebody has all this chaos going out on in the house. They just want to go to a room to escape all the chaos out there. So they go into a room, they shut the door, they put their back against the door, they slide down the door, and they break out bawling, right? That's the vision that's coming to me. So in order to clear this stuff up, it's about looking at decluttering life. Create mental space. Your state of mind is a direct reflection of your physical space. Your angels are signaling you that work needs to be done here. The time is right to declutter your space as a way to also declutter your mind. Take an inventory of the room that you are currently in. Is there one thing you can clean, store, donate, recycle, or throw away? And you know, this is really interesting because it again falls under take control of the situation. We know you can do this. So that could be take control of decluttering. Now the room I'm in, if you watch my videos, you'll see it's busy. I have a lot of color in here, but color is very healing. And so I am actually in the process of decluttering, and I have been in the process. It is the fall season in the United States as I record this, which is that reminder to release. Yes, physical things, but as we release physical things, we are also releasing emotional things because we become attached to our things. We remember where we bought something, how we felt when we bought it, who we were with when we bought it, what trip were we on when we bought it. We remember where we wore things. So what situation can you do to declutter your life? Number 315, if you are seeing this number, that is what it is saying here. Create mental space. That is even the bigger message. The words that are coming to me is can't see the forest through the trees, right? Everything is really busy, which causes more anxiety. So if you struggle with anxiety, decluttering will really help the mind get back to ease because you're not constantly looking at, oh, I need to do this and push this around and I should do this, and you're constantly moving and moving and moving stuff around to different places. And it does help if you are attached to items to ask yourself the question in a different frame of mind, who could really benefit from this? Who could benefit from this? And it's, you know, not necessarily about selling everything. Sure, there might be some things that you sell. But when you choose to free yourself and you just simply say, okay, today I'm going to pack up whatever 5 bags worth of stuff, and I'm going to start at one place at a time, and I'm going to choose a closet, a kitchen cabinet, and I'm going to start releasing this stuff and give it away to someone who can use it. And all of a sudden you start feeling like what? You're taking your power back. You stopped talking about it and you started doing, right? Okay, what's this other thing? Problems that have held you back are being cleared. We are monitoring it. Number 957, it says go forth, which is interesting because that was the first card, take the next step. Stick with your decisions. The choice you made is one you need to stick with. Your angels guard against vacillating any further. Wavering just delays the fulfillment of the bigger picture. That means jumping all over. And in the tarot deck, that is the Seven of Cups card. Many choices being presented to you, and you're not sure which one, so you're just keep jumping all over. It's basically saying pick a lane and move forward. Just like I was saying, that's how you can change your energy. It may not be the lane forever, but it does shift your energy, right? Wavering just delays the fulfillment of the bigger picture. Lie in meditation now with your hands on your solar plexus chakra, which is just above your belly button area. And repeat this mantra a few times until it begins to sink in. I am confident. I am confident. So interesting, right? Because of these two strings on my desk, how the yellow was smaller. That's about your power center and where you felt lack of confidence. And so it's like saying, no, I can take my power back and I can be confident in my decisions. Sure, there's going to be people come along who say, why are you doing this? You shouldn't do that. How dare you dream like this, right? Why are you doing this? It's like, don't let them sway you and pull you in all these different directions. It's about knowing thyself. Sorry, I'm just trying not to talk right now because I don't know if you can hear that. It's really loud, that mower. Okay. Interesting. So the next one, which is falling under the seek professional help if you need to, all will be well. So this little younger man in the water here. Number is 227, and it is like a teal green. Okay, it's not like this other green with the declutter life. You are stronger than your fears. So fear may be holding you back. Fear is not an indication of success or failure. It just exists within you. Your angel's message is this: as you manifest your goals and dreams, consider where fear creeps in and limits you. It's not going anywhere. It's time to make friends with your fear. Reflect presently on how your fear could become a friend instead of a foe. There's another deck called the Cosmic Something, and there's a card in there that says befriend your fear monster. Same thing, right? Befriend your fear. So there was a point in my life where because of the experiences that I was having, it was very overwhelming, right? Because I didn't know anyone who had these types of experiences, and I was like, what is going on? And there was a point where I had a lot of fear. I mean, a lot of fear. And so I ended up leaving my home for a couple weeks because I was experiencing so many things there. And I went and stayed with family. But I never told them, but the things that I was experiencing so many things there too. So what happened is I learned that these experiences, they weren't just happening in my home. They went where I went. It's so like when we talk about mediumship and spiritual experiences, it's like this other part of this other experience opened up for me. And so now it was understanding that, oh, this isn't going to go away. I have to learn how to work with this because this is the way it is now, right? And so I went home. I chose to go home and take my power back and say, no, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm in my body. I'm here. I'm not whatever. I'm safe. And so I take my power back. And yep, fear would still creep up and different things would happen, but I would constantly have to go back to myself and say, no, it's okay. I'm safe. I literally would like touch my arm Or I know there's this thing that people do, and this is about getting back into the body when they feel too anxious, especially fearful. They put a rubber band on their wrist, and it's like snapping it. They pull it to snap it, and the idea of that is to snap one back into their body so that they feel. It's like, come here, be here. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just having experiences. I'm noticing more. I'm seeing more. I'm picking up on more, which can cause a lot of anxiety, right? And so this is saying, no, I'm going to get a grip on this. I'm going to take control of the situation. I'm going to learn how to work within this. And so therefore I'm going to find help, which might be a metaphysical shop if you are having experiences, spiritual experiences of the spirit, maybe is the way that I'd like to say that. But you know, it is still being called to find harmony into your life. Not everyone's going to understand this. You talk to your parents, your siblings, whoever, and you might be talking a lot, right? Because you're trying to find somebody who can understand it. It took me 2 years. Took me 2 years to have words for what I was experiencing, which was called a spiritual awakening. And I got help and guidance at metaphysical shops. Now, that isn't for everyone, but everyone has their own path. But there are classes and different things, you know, that's what you're looking at, different classes and such. What resonates with you? With what are you experiencing? But at least you don't feel so alone when you're looking for help. Anyway, so that is the message for today. I want to say thank you for joining me. Know that you are not alone, even if you feel alone. You are being called to start something new, to start to shift the energy, to clear the clutter, to turn the page, right? Something has ended in your life, but now there is time for a new beginning, right? Continue to go forth. And so by going forth, you may need to get a hold of your fear, and it is okay to seek professional help, right? But what you give energy to flows. So if you continue to perpetuate a cycle of fear by talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, that's what's going to happen. But if you shift your energy and say, you know what, I think I'm going to create some art. I think I'm going to go get a toy at a thrift shop from when I was a kid. It might bring up some memories, a trigger. And that's okay, because you might have something you need to process, release, to let go. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to do, but you didn't. And maybe that was because your job was so busy. You know, there could be so many different reasons, but you're being called to step into your heart center, and make some shifts, because the changes can bring new life and energy, and you are being helped by spirit. So again, that's the message. I want to say thanks for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day. Take care.